Alright guys, issue 72. Now, there's a lot of reasons why I've been looking forward to this a lot. And it's actually because, number one, we get the most involved sprue as we've had before. So the most number of different options that we can use to build our Chaos Spawn. Also, we can use these miniatures in Warhammer 40k as part of Conquest. I can use them in Warcry as chaotic beasts. So substitutes for the chaotic beasts that we've already got. And I've just started an Age of Sigmar Slaves to Darkness army, and I will show you my first painted miniature of 2020. So these guys can also play with the Slaves to Darkness because they're as Chaos Spawn. So they're very, very versatile. I've just realised as well that I don't do any painting really on this channel, and that is something I intend to change this year. So lots of good reasons for me getting this, and they are really cool models as well. Very, very cool. So anyway, let's crack on with this. In fact, before I do that, unless you've been living under a rock, the Mortal Realms magazine is upon us. The Age of Sigmar version of Conquest started out last week. It seems to be going pretty well. I'm sure many of you out there from the UK and Spain have bought multiple copies of issue number 1. I know I've bought a couple. But really exciting stuff. I'll be with it from day 1 right through to issue number 80. I'll also be looking at the premium content and that kind of thing. So if you want to keep up to date with Mortal Realms, the rest of Conquest and anything else like this that comes out, be sure to drop a little subscribe and I will keep you up to date every step of the way. Now, let's put this aside for a minute and have a look at the magazine. What have we got? In this issue comes with 2 miniatures for your Death Guard army. Horrifying Chaos Spawn. Spawn are the followers of the Chaos Gods who have been turned into mutated monsters, either by displeasing their chosen deity or simply growing too many mutations. As a result, these kits have more options than any other you have received. Though our paint guides will show you how to paint 2 different builds, don't let that stop you from trying something unique with your models. You can assemble these kits in an incredible number of ways. And this far along in Conquest, your painting skills are developed enough that you should be able to paint any parts of the kit. However you build them and paint them, we have an exciting new mission for you to use them in. Happy hobbying. Okay, so what we've got, we're going to learn a little bit about Chaos Spawn. We're going to learn about the Gene Stealer cults. And we're going to have a look at their showcase, so some painted miniatures. Then we're going to look at Stormhawk Interceptors. They're the kind of dogfight aircraft of the Space Marines. Then we've got the build guide for the Chaos Spawn, the paint guide for them. Then we've got Rules Mission 55, Grandfather's Gift. A terrible ritual ends in the creation of 2 deadly Chaos Spawn. The Space Marines must end these foul beasts. And then we've got the Chaos Spawn data sheets. Okay, so Chaos Spawn. Most followers of the Dark Gods seek great power. A rare few will gain the gods' favour and ascend into demonhood. Most, however, die in service or are racked with terrible mutations that eventually overwhelm them, transforming them into hideous creatures known as Chaos Spawn. Okay, so Nurgle Chaos Spawn. Nurgle is a generous god, and his followers rarely want for his gifts. Many of these blessings are parasitic infestations and diseases, though tentacles, thick hides, fly heads, and other mutations are also common. Right, the price of failure. If the gods are displeased by a follower, they may turn them into a Chaos Spawn as punishment. The desires of the gods are often impossible for mortals to understand, which makes this fate frighteningly common. Okay, so what have we got? Zargox Grench. The plague marine known as Zargox Grench traded his soul for demonic power, only to be twisted into the mindless Chaos Spawn when his mind and body proved unworthy of the Nurgle's many gifts. And then we've got the Beast of Noxar. None can say when this Chaos Spawn came to be, but the twisted creature stalks the depths of Hive Noxar. The beast is covered with mutations resembling the screaming faces of former victims. Beautiful. What a lovely boy. Anyway, so now we've got the Gene Stealer cults. From the dark depths and shadowy streets emerge the Gene Stealer cults. United by their worship of strange, starborn powers, these cults grow unseen and are in the hidden corners of the Imperium. Then we've got 4 different banners here. We've got the Cult of the Four-Armed Emperor. We've got the Rusted Claw, the Hive Cult, and the Bladed Cog. Okay, what have we got here? The brood cycle of a cult. So the look of the Gene Stealer cults depends on how ingrained they are to kind of secrecy and how they're taking over a planet or that kind of thing. So, for example, we've got... right, first generation. The offspring of the infected native humans are known as acolytes. They are utterly alien in appearance. The second generation, hybrids, are also known as acolytes. They appear only slightly less alien than the first generation. The third generation, known as neophytes, they're close to human in appearance. Some can even pass for human from far away or when their mutations are hidden by clothing. The fourth generation, these neophytes can pass for human much more easily than the third generation. And they can even infiltrate imperial society, especially at the lower levels. And then the fifth generation, the final generation of the brood cycle, are pure strain gene stealers, returning the cycle to its origin. Though utterly alien, they are seen as beautiful by their parents. Lovely. And then we've got a showcase here. You don't need to see this, but interestingly, it's got the different generations, and we can see this little dude here is obviously, he looks like an acolyte, so very alien in appearance. And then you look at this one here, who is very clearly fourth generation, so can pass as human quite easily. Okay, so that is very nice. The warriors of the cult. So we've got an aberrant. Aberrants are like the real kind of heavy lifters. They all use melee weapons, I believe. I've got a pack of these who support my kill team, and they are tough. We've got neophytes. Got one with a shotgun, one with a seismic cannon. Then we've got one of the pure strain gene stealers there. A hybrid metamorph. An acolyte hybrid. One with a rock saw and one with blasting charges. A metamorph leader with metamorph talon and rending claws. Then we've got a brood brother with las gun, and then brood brother's weapons team with a heavy bolter. The star children are coming, we shall ascend to glory. It's a Tamarus. It's an acolyte hybrid. That's a quote from him. Okay, then we'll have a look at what have we got? Stormhawk interceptors. The Stormhawk Interceptor is the main fighter craft in a Space Marine armoury. It excels at aerial combat, stopping enemy fighters from strafing around troops and shooting down bombers and transports before they can unleash their deadly cargo. Okay, that's cool. Now we've got markings in colours. We've got salamanders there, iron hands there. A few different options. Imperial fists. And then we've got a couple of them chasing an Orc Dakajet. Okay, then we've got how to build the Chaos Spawn. And yeah, you can see, look, interchangeable parts, heads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different, 10 different, 11 different options for heads, which is quite incredible. Some of the components in this kit are designed to assemble Chaos Spawn of gods other than Nurgle, or to be used in other game systems. We recommend you do not use any of these pieces when assembling your Chaos Spawn. Okay, well that's fair enough. I think I will go for something a bit Nurgle-y, but something that will also fit in with my Slaves to Darkness. Then we've got arms, a whole bunch of different types there. I think I'll stick with tentacles. That's pretty Nurgle-y. Claws, tentacles, spikes, eyes and tails. So lots of options there. And it's got some different options of putting them together here as well. So very nice. But we'll build it up. We'll build those up in a minute, and then we'll take a look. Then we've got how to paint them, and today it tells us to look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different paints. 1, 2, 3 with 4 different shades. So that's very cool. I like this. In fact, I'm really impressed with this little tutorial on how to do the eyes. Now, it'd be easier on this because, look at that, that's a big eye. But I do like this tutorial here. It looks pretty cool. Okay, Rules Mission 55, Grandfather's Gifts. Traitors abound on Corvon 2, but none more notorious than the former governor, Ludmilla Tarch. Her schemes are about to take an even darker turn as she plots to ascend to demonhood. I wonder what could possibly go wrong. Governor Tarch's ritual has gone horribly wrong, transforming her and General Redgar into Ravenous Chaos Spawn. The Space Marines must stop them from escaping the ritual site. Even cursed as spawn, they are valuable symbols to the rebels and must be destroyed. Death can be the only fate for traitors. Okay, so what have we got? We've got roll off, and starting with the winner, take turns placing battlefield mats in the layout shown above. Then place 3 hatches in the locations shown. When the hatches have been placed, set up the rest of your terrain in an agreed manner. Refer to tutorial 21 if you need help doing so. Okay, so the armies are: one player selects Battle-Forged Army of Death Guard miniatures and the other Space Marine. The Death Guard player must include the following units in their roster: 2 Chaos Spawn and 10 Chaos Cultists, up to a maximum power rating of 40. The Death Guard deploy the Chaos Spawn and Chaos Cultists in the ritual site, which is marked in the middle here. The Space Marines deploy all of their units in a Space Marine deployment zone. The remaining Death Guard units move on to the battlefield mat, or move on to the battle mat at the beginning of their movement phase. Infantry units may move onto the board from the hatches instead of from the edge. The Space Marines player takes the first turn. Okay, so victory conditions are: eliminating an enemy unit is 1 victory point. Eliminating a warlord is another victory point. If both Chaos Spawn are eliminated by the Space Marine player, they gain 3 victory points. The Death Guard player gains 1 victory point for each model slain by a Chaos Spawn, and the game lasts for 5 battle rounds. Now, power rating of 40. So these Chaos Spawn they're melee only, so they are up close combat only. So I suppose these Space Marine players, you're going to try and keep a distance and try and cut them down to avoid them earning lots of victory points early on. And again, probably at the same time, you're probably going to want to get your cultists and all of your poxwalkers out as soon as possible and try and close down the distance and draw them into melee combat. But that's very cool, very cool. We've got the data sheet here. These guys are pretty tough, so their standard weapon, Hideous Mutations, which is melee, armor piercing -2 and damage 2. So they're fearsome. Units within 1 inch of an enemy Chaos Spawn must subtract 1 from their leadership. Mutated beyond reason. When a unit of Chaos Spawn makes its close combat attack, roll a d3 and consult the table below. So on a 1, they get Razor Claws, a hideous mutation of all spawn in the unit, have an AP of -4 until the end of the fight phase. A d2 is Grasping Pseudopods. Each Chaos Spawn in the unit adds 2 to its attacks characteristic until the end of the fight phase. And on a d3, you can re-roll failed wound rolls for this unit until the end of the fight phase. So pretty awesome there. They're good. So movement of 7 and a weapon skill of 4 up. And that's pretty good. Okay, right. We've got a new advertisement here. I haven't seen this one before. Warhammer 40,000 Conquest, your first step into a new hobby, but your journey has only just begun. Immerse yourself, blah, 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 blah. Just a Warhammer advert. It's a little bit late to be putting adverts like that in. We've been collecting this for a year and a half already, pretty much. So anyway, better late than never. Right, next week, your next conquest, Technical Paints, Nylak Oxide and Nurgle's Rot. If you are collecting Mortal Realms, you'll be getting some Nylak Oxide in the next couple of weeks as well. So if you're collecting this and that, within about probably 2 or 3 weeks, you're going to double up on your Nylak Oxide. But it's cool, so, you know, never mind. And then issue 74, we get into the Death Guard Tallyman. Count the 7. So that's good, very good. And then after that, we've got 4 issues of the Space Marine tank, and then we've got some terrain, and that will bring us up to 80 issues. So very, very cool issue. I like it. I like the way that the mission is broken down. I like the idea of deployment at the hatches for the infantry for the Death Guard. I like the tactics involved now that we're working on maximum power ratings as opposed to kind of predefined lists of minis for the battle. So it's good. I'm interested in playing this. Very cool. Right, okay. Let's make up some Chaos Spawn. Right, so let's have a look at our creations. So we have got, it's the first one. So I haven't gone for the build guides I've got in here. So here's the first one. Put lots of spines on the back. Left some open spaces here and on either side of his head. Well, I'm going to fill those with Nurgle's Rot once it's painted. That's our first one. And then our second one, I've gone for the 3 heads on here. I've given him another head poking out from under there. An eye there. I've covered his back in eyes. There's quite a lot there. A few spines. So yeah, but these are really, really cool. And in fact, I've ordered an extra 2 boxes of Chaos Spawn to fill out my armies and for all my different stuff. But there you go. So that's it for this week. On the sprue, I've still got the vast majority of the things that were already on there, plus a few things that I had I'd clipped out for testing. So yeah, very, very good. I think this sprue is about 25 quid if you want to buy it from Games Workshop. So really good value this week. But there you go. So that's the Chaos Spawn, and I'll see you next week for another paint issue. I'll also have Mortal Realms issue number 2 next week to look at as well. And in the meantime, I'll be doing a full video, a full breakdown of the cost saving from Mortal Realms, along with all of the content in the entire range. So if you want to see that, drop a little subscribe and it will pop up in the next couple of days. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you later.